So then I just wanted to know from you, uh, what does future of work mean to you?
Yeah, so I mean, I guess we already spoke about this, and for me, future work and really meaning for us to understand ourselves deeper. I always just repeat the same thing. And I can see that there's a big difference in terms of how organizations are treating their people. Because I left my corporate job in 2019, but I went back in 2022, and the difference was incredible in a positive way. That organizations are really investing in the people. They really want them to succeed, and by offering the flexi working, remote working, all of the perks and benefits, I think it's amazing. But from my point of view, with my opinion, I just don't think that they are encouraging people to invest in themselves. And this is where I'm hoping where the future work is going to be going, that organizations are not just going to be focusing on professional developments, but also given equal attention to personal development.
So, what are some of the areas future of work enthusiasts or remote leaders must focus on while developing their leadership or their personality?
Yeah, so it's already developing on self or focusing on yourself more than looking at what others are doing. It's once again, it's all about finding the balance. And what I see a lot is that leaders, actually, just to retract a little bit, in my corporate arena, I worked for over 15 years, and I was part of many teams. I work with many CEOs, directors, team leaders, but only maybe two of them that really stuck in my memory for no other reason that they really knew how to inspire and energize other people. And that's what leadership is all about. It's about being service to others. It's about being able to not just do your work, but inspire other people to do their work. And that only comes through self-awareness, by understanding who you are and becoming that person and the leader that you wish you had.
So, are there any connections between the future of work and the concepts of spiritual mentoring and human design that you particularly find it interesting or relevant?
Well, I think it's all connected, right? Because actually, if I was having this conversation, I probably wouldn't be having this conversation 5 years ago. I don't think that the awareness was there, Obviously, there was a lot of, there was talk about spirituality and spiritual leaders, but organizations and people who worked in organization, I was one of them, were not quite interested in that. But over the last few years, especially since lockdown, I think been a big shift in our consciousness and our awareness. So people began to realize, first, there's something more to life than what I currently have. They started asking themselves different questions like, who am I? Where am I going? Is this even right for me? So it's all kind of inclusive. I believe that future works of work um, includes that deeper kind of sense of purpose, of finding direction, and of really giving us the self-confidence to explore ourselves further.
Then, how can also individuals strike a balance between personal and professional growth, especially in the context of these topics?
Well, we need to realize that we're just one human being. There's no separation between personal and professional. It's just you, right? And the more you invest in you, the more you can give. Again, it's all about giving and receiving. You've got to receive that satisfaction, the whatever, the enjoyment from the things you do. And because you receive it, then you've got more energy and joy and all of these positive feelings. And then you can go and give it to others. It's like a constant loop. So, firstly, I'm probably maybe not yet the right person to say that, but I believe by practicing self compassion. And it's a big thing for me to say, because I think a lot of us, especially in the corporate world, the high achievers, right, that we like succeed, we're going to use our willpower, we're going to overcome any obstacles and challenges, we're going to better ourselves. And the way that we then talk to ourselves, that self talk, is we will never allow anyone else to talk to us that way, and we'll never talk to anyone else that way. So I think, for anyone who's really looking for deeper self meaning, self awareness, compassion is like for yourself is the key. It's like accepting I am where I am and I can't be anywhere else because I wasn't aware of certain information. There's lessons I've got to learn before I can be somewhere else. So that acceptance of being where you are is exactly where you need to be, and just being more compassionate and celebrating like little wins.
So, how can someone become a leader who I wish I had? What are some of the areas where leaders must focus?
Well, when you like think of somebody who inspires you, they don't need to be like a corporate leader. It just can be like a singer, or it can be whoever, right? What qualities do they possess? When you look at them, like what draws you in? Because we've all of us, I'm pretty sure, met people in our lives where they may not be saying certain things, they may not be doing certain things or behaving in the way that you used to people behave, but there is that something about them that draws you in, right? And that's their energy, it's their presence, and we can only cultivate it by really being true to ourselves. And what I mean by that is there is a big difference between who we think we are versus who we truly are, and that separation really needs to be dissolved so we can just become that whole person. And that comes through deeper introspection and really questioning yourself. Why do I believe that? Why does this trigger me? Why do I act in this way? Why do I behave that way? Rather than why they're doing it to me. You see, there is a very big shift in perspective. In perspective.
You know, can you share what spiritual mentoring is and how it is different from traditional coaching or counseling?
Well, I mean, I'm not a traditional counselor coach, so I don't know. I've never really worked with a counselor, and traditional coaching, to be honest, just did not work for me. So I believe with when it comes really to spirituality, it challenges us more to broaden our minds and to start seeing things differently, because we only experience worlds how we experience ourselves. What I mean by that is what we think and what we believe to be true for us, that's what we see in others, and that's how we see the world. So we are constantly surrounded by information, by the small little particles, the universe. And I mean, that's quantum physics. They're called, the name just went out of my head completely. I literally had it. But anyways, they carry the information and we absorb, we surrounded by them, something like million bits of information, but we can only absorb 40 or 50, that's it, out of millions. And we absorb that based on our filters. And by filters, I mean our conditioning, our beliefs, our whatever, right? Our how we were brought up, and what we think is true for us. So, and that's how then we perceive the world, the reality. So, as I've already said, we only see things for not for what they are, but for who we are. So spirituality helps you to broaden your horizon and to understand that there is a different way of looking at things. So then you begin, as I mentioned already, that self-inquiry. Why do I believe this to be true? Is this belief helpful? How can I shift it? How can I change this? And realize that nobody is doing anything to you. You are basically creating your life, creating your experiences.
Wow. What advice you have for listeners who are interested in navigating the evolving world of work while also exploring the spiritual and self-discovery journey?
I already said that. I mean, making
Yeah,
time
yeah.
for yourself is the key. It's just slowing down, because we mistakenly believe that slowing down is being lazy or unproductive, but actually the opposite is true, because that's intuitive guidance, that's action that we need to take, does not come from when we run around, when we're too busy. That's this monkey brain gets involved and really distract us from the next right step. It rather comes from the place of stillness, of silence. And I've noticed sometimes like how let's say I don't know what my next step is. I don't know what to do. And in the past, I'm like, I'm just going to do everything and see what works. And now sometimes I would just like either go for a walk or sit on a couch and just ask, what is the next thing I can do? And the answers come sometimes not in the way you expected them to come, but they always come. So I think slowing down is one thing. And another one is we really need to start paying to things that excite us the most. What is it that you're most excited? What are you most curious about? There is a reason why you feel that way, because it means that that thing is meant for you, right? I mean, I wouldn't get excited by going deep sea diving. Like, it's like not exciting at all. But I would be excited, for example, to go on, I don't know, like somewhere else, to a spa maybe, because I know when I come out of the spa I feel energized, and when I feel energized I have more inspiration, more creativity flows through me, while scuba diving would just like, no, it's just not my thing. So why are certain things coming to you? You've got to trust them and you've got to follow in them. You know, I think I've given you example where in the past, like, I needed to get a solution to this problem at my job, and my intuition told me to go for a walk in the rain. And I did. And when I got back, I didn't have one answer, I had two answers. And I was circling around for about a week. So just slowing down and listening and trusting and paying attention to what feels most exciting.